everybody had his own or her own ideas about the game and was talking about their experiences with different games they had made or they had played. And in the evening we agreed on to focus on special questions about how a game should look like, how a framework for such a game could look like, and that was what they were working on today. So we agreed on that there are 3 groups that are important for implementing a game. That is, first of all, the museum. What are the interests of the museum? Basically, the museum wants to have the visitors, more visitors, new visitors, and wants to keep them. Then there are the visitors themselves. What do they want to get out of such a game? They want to have an emotional experience. They want to have action. They want to get into dialogue. They want to have a memorable experience and something new and fresh. So the game has to change over time. And they want to learn something. And then we've got another group that is involved are the urban gamers who are some kind of experts in this sort of games, and they want also things like emotional experience and a challenge and apply their experiences to something new. And they know their audience, so they can apply the game maybe to a new situation, and the museum would be a new situation to them. So we split up in 3 groups and had some questions what framework we worked on, and now everybody of the group will tell about these questions a little bit and about ideas we had.
So the first question we looked at is, what are the sorts of games that people play outside? There's lots of them. There's a wide range. So perhaps what might be more useful for me to do here is just talk about a definition of pervasive games as I work with. So there's games that can be pervasive in that they pervade into outdoor space, which I think we've talked about quite a lot, bleeding outside the institution. Also ones that use different types of technology, but also ones that use different types of social interactions. We've got all these different models like chase games, interactive challenges, role-playing deductions, scavenger hunts, trials. There's loads and loads of different formats that you can sort of use as your basic game mechanism. After that, we looked at how to reach these people. We kind of identified 3 different strands of audience. There's your visitors, people you've already got a channel of communication with through like your mailing list or because they come to your institution. We thought, we've got those channels of communication, but are there ways that you can use these in slightly unexpected ways, and that might be an interesting way of sort of getting people involved into a game project. There's also the audience of gamers who are out there already. That's pretty straightforward because they're already there with their communities and their channels of communication as well, so you've just got to find those, tap into them. The one that gave us the most trouble was the new audience, and that was a question that came out sort of quite early on in the discussion yesterday. But there's some really good discussion about that as well, and again this links into doing things out in the city or wherever you are, being visible and allowing people to come to you. So being out in public space, doing interesting things can be quite a key component of that, I think. Not having your first games being hidden away and too secretive, but to make them approachable. And I think also the idea of having a programme of games so that you'll learn as an institution and build on it as well, so that's quite. Third question is how to facilitate games in the museum space. It's difficult. It's going to depend so much on the type of game that you're running, but I think from listening to other people's responses, I think there's a drive to keeping that quite minimal, just because there's already such a strain on sort of human resources and stuff within the institution. So you think people sort of end up designing games to fit the resources that they've got, but we're also investigating, well, how can you make the game sort of self-sufficient in terms of this, and looking at ways that visitors who are already part of the way into the game experience can become sort of mentors and start supporting the people who are coming in again, either through sort of written testimonials or sort of, I don't know, becoming a guide or something, quite face-to-face sort of way.